Hey everybody, it's Tanya with Power Pantaloons. Welcome. Today we have Adonica with us, and she's going to talk to us about red light being on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. I love doing this. Love educating people about red light therapy.
So let's start with what is it?
Well, it's been around forever. It's like the more I go into it, it's been around since before 1965. 1965 is when NASA took it and said, "Oh my God, it's going to help us grow plants." Oh, now it's helping healing. So it's been around a very long time. So what it is it's we're harnessing the power of the sun and we're taking out the red light from the sun because now in the studies show that it actually can get into your body and penetrate those cells in there and start healing. So that's what they've done. And that's why I got so excited about this because it's non-invasive, it's no touch, and people just feel wonderful. Yeah, it's a new
That's
modality.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Um, how big is this device?
it's quite big. So ours is a class 2 medical device. So there's little ones out there too as well. But again, you have to ask the question. Ours is the smallest from our company, and it's a Canadian company. It's 178 square inches. So it covers my top of my head to the bottom of my chest, where my rib cage is. And we can move it around on casters. So we have people sit on a massage bed and they tell us where they want it, and we put it to that area. But the fun thing about that is systematically works the whole body, no matter if it's on your feet, your head, your heart, blah, 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 works the whole body.
So like when you started describing it, I was like, fancy tanning bed?
Some of them kind of look like tanning beds. Our big one, like a bed, is just 6 lights over top of like a massage table. But you can get the tanning beds where they close in.
Michelle.
Yeah, I would be claustrophobic in that, man. I'd be like, oh my God, get me out. I was a big tanner for a long time, but I can remember just sitting there going, I couldn't do it.
Tanning beds were only like 20 minutes, right? 10, 15
The
minutes. I don't
20,
remember.
30, I can't remember. I
It was a
don't
very
know.
long time ago.
Oh, it's so long ago. So long ago. And then, of course, then all the studies came out of tanning beds being bad for you. So you don't get any bad UVs from our light. It's strictly a red light, nothing
Okay,
else.
so now we have we harness this. What does it do? Like,
So what it does is it penetrates. Ours has been proven to penetrate because, okay, so lights out there have wavelengths, just like our sun has a wavelength. They have a wavelength, and you can get 1 to 10 wavelengths. When you do one, you're only penetrating like your skin, the top area of your skin. So you see the masks out there that people wear for getting your skin better. Those are like ones. Those are ones. The one that we have is a 10. So we're a near infrared light which can penetrate the body 3 inches. So if you're thinking about your brain, it can go through the skull of your brain into your mitochondria of the brain or the mitochondria wherever you are in the body and start harnessing the power of that because it's almost like going back to science 101, biology, about the cells, mitochondria, we have ATP, blah, 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 blah. I kind of fell asleep, but now I'm like, oh my God, I got to get back into this. But that's what it does. So you got the masks out there that aren't going to penetrate, but just work your skin, the collagen of your skin. But it ranges from 1 to 10. And the 10 is the one that can go into your body and start healing you at a cellular level. And that's what's so exciting about our light. It's so cool.
what kind of benefits um would you have?
Okay, so you just cut out a bit. So you want
What kind of benefits could you possibly have
from
by
right
being?
from yeah. Okay, so just a little bit background if you want to hear about my testimonial. So the reason we got into us, my best friend and I got into this business, and she's so funny. She goes, "Let's do this and search you up because you're a lemon." And I'm like, okay. So I am a stroke survivor. I've had 3 strokes. I've had I've had cancer. I throw it at me, I've had it. And so we decided to let's focus on one thing. And the one thing that was at the same time, this is 2 years ago, was that I'm in menopause too. So with a stroke patient, you get brain plaque, and then on top of it, throw the brain fog in for menopause, and then I was a zombie. So I was tired all the time. I couldn't communicate well because I couldn't spit my words out properly. Like it just started to go downhill. My husband was like, "You're like lethargic. I work out 7 days a week, eat properly, but still tired." And we couldn't figure out. So we decided to dive deep into the stroke area, and we found so much great research, government study research on the brain of red light therapy. And we're like, interesting. So I decided, okay, are you in? She goes, let's do it. So we bought a machine, a red light, and then we put myself under it. I'm one of the guinea pigs. We have another guinea pig too that started. And seriously, I was under it 3 to 4 times a week, 20-minute sessions, doing my brain, mostly my brain, sometimes my gut, because the gut is like your second brain, and you need to do that too. And I like by the month and a half, maybe 2 months, going 3 times a week, she's like, "How you feel?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if you get this, but I feel different." And like, and if you don't know what a stroke person feels like, it's kind of hard to say, okay, and agree, because you understand if you cut your skin, you've cut your skin, it'll heal. But I said to her, I said, I am alive. I feel different. I feel clear. My brain is clear. I feel like it was just weird. It was weird feeling to explain to someone's looking at me like, okay. And then anytime I tell someone, they're like, what kind of drugs are you doing? So I'm not doing anything. I'm doing red light therapy.
The right, you don't really understand a thing unless you had the thing, right? Like I can talking about chemo fog, I could talk about that all day long,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
with, that I had. How long after your like to do this?
Did I start feeling good?
I, so from your third stroke, do you decide to go ahead and do the red light?
Well, I had my third stroke was like, it was a long time ago that my strokes had happened. But as you know, you have detrimental loss, right? You have loss. So I was a mom, not a single mom. I'm not Carrie's and my husband would be like, no, you're not. I can only have one child. He's a miracle child. He's 25 now. And when he was little, I was very sick. And I said to Chris, I said, this is crazy. This is this has made me feel like I'm actually 100% okay in my body. And as you know, as a cancer survivor, it's when you get that, oh my God, I feel so great in my body, is when you want to rejoice and tell the world about it. And that's what's happened now.
Um,
And I don't go under the light all the time now, because the way the cells work, you heal the cell stays healed. You don't go backwards unless you're going to go crazy backwards. Like, you know what I mean? Cells always stay healed all the time. So you do preventative. And that's what I do now. So it's kind of made me feel I'm alive. Wow.
that's amazing, right? Like as an older individual, I've seen friends have strokes, and I can see the cognitive
Yeah.
issues, right? And having my own cognitive issues because of the the cancer. And like I was diagnosed 17 years ago, right? So like that was a long time ago, and I've done a lot of healing, but there's still brain fog sometimes, and there's still very clear what I would call side effects from my survival.
Yep. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, my mother is a lung cancer survivor, and so is my dad's a kidney cancer survivor. They have a light. And I said, Mom, you got to do this light. And I say to them now, because of all the stuff that's coming out, and you are so lucky to be in the States, because they're starting to recognize red light therapy. I follow a doctor on LinkedIn that I talk to, actually, because I'm in Canada. Every time the States says something, Canada will do it eventually. I said, hurry up and do this. And he had said to me, listen to this podcast, and I did. And it's all about preventative for people who haven't been very sick like ourselves. Hate to say sick, but it is what it is the cognitive. It's getting into the brain to start so you don't feel that oldness and that fogginess and that, like, you know what I mean? It starts to deteriorate.
Yeah.
And that's what's changed in me is all of a sudden I'm like, I would love to have a MRI on my head and see what's going on in there. It costs money, but I know in myself that I'm feeling 100% better than I've ever felt in my entire life because of this new modality that's coming out of there.
That's
And that's,
fantastic.
yeah, it's the key. It's the key. It's the next new thing coming up. And it's not expensive to go for a treatment. It's expensive to get a light for the house, but we're selling in Canada lights privately now because people are like preventative. They've done the studies, they've done their own research. And I said, we want a preventative. So yeah, so it's crazy. I love it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Are you okay with talking a little bit about your cancer? And
Yeah. 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 So I had I had thyroid cancer, and I've also had it's just I don't know if you have it. It's a different word for everyone. The cervical one too as well. That the precancerous cervical cells that you have, and the one in the thyroid was non-conclusive, but they went on the side of it. I've had skin cancer removed, so like a lemon, but never went through the chemo or the radiation or anything like that. Been very fortunate and lucky. So I thought, thank God, because God gave me the challenge of learning to walk again using my arm through my stroke. He put that aside and gave and kind of just said, I'll just give her a little bit of a break here. You know what I mean? So have been down that road, but I watched my mom and my dad do it, and it's hard. It's hard.
yeah, no, it's not just hard on the individual that's diagnosed, it's hard on the family. And like it sounds like everybody knows what it feels like over there.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts. But I know that with my mom, she and her best friend just got diagnosed with lung cancer. So she just had her surgery 2 weeks ago, and she's never been a smoker. Like it's I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, I can actually tell you what that is. So everybody assumes that cancer is mostly genetic, right? Because that's what they talk about. But genetic cancer only counts for 6 to 8% of cancers. The
Yes.
rest of it is environmental and toxins. And
Yes,
you do
absolutely.
not have to be a smoker to get lung cancer.
No. No, and that's I've lost in COVID, that was the when we couldn't do anything, I lost a couple of great friends that are my age, and I'm going to be 59 this year. And one had brain tumor, and the other one had cancer of the jaw, which was crazy. And I again, they were both healthy people, so it's the environment. It is. Unfortunately, we're doing it because what we do to our environment. Unfortunately.
Not all of us do that to our environment.
Yeah.
Governments allow corporations to be destructive and they don't put a
Oh,
rein on it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Pollution is so bad. And the sun's bad. Like you can't even go out in the sun. I remember the days when we were little where we would run around with I don't know, nothing. No SPF, naked, and we were perfectly fine. Now you go out in the sun and then all of a sudden you got some spot and that doesn't look right on your skin. But I read an article and I follow a bunch of great doctors and non-doctors that say one thing you can do for yourself to harness the sun is just to go out no longer than 30 minutes with no protection, sit in that and let the rays do the work. Because we are history of the photosynthesis, the plants use the sun to grow and harness their power. So why don't we do it?
Well, we should, and we should be using the first rays,
Yeah.
the first 20 to 30 minutes right after it rises is the
Yeah.
time to be harnessing the sun. And yeah, absolutely, we should be doing it. And that's free. Go outside.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's so, and that's the funny part about us in Canada. 6 months of the year we hardly see sun because we are snowy, and so we call our big light the sad light because we have seasonal deficit disorder up here tenfold, because people don't know how to get out of that, and a lot of people out in the it's unfortunate the population are looking for quick fixes. Oh my God, I have seasonal, give me a Paxil, give me this, I got this and that, instead of just digging deep. And because we as humans can heal our own body if we give it the right stuff. But
Yes.
what do? We go on the internet, we talk to Dr. Google. Dr. Google says, oh, you got this, got to get to the doctor, get this. And we don't allow our body to heal. And that's exactly the same thing with cancer. Let it when it's there, you can I've healed my own body by saying affirmations tenfold. I'm an affirmation girl. I love it.
I did do surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. I was given a 5% chance of survival. I used mindset,
Oh, power.
teas, therapy, crystal, sound healing,
Yeah.
grounding, all of the other things, right? But mindset was, my podcast is called Power Things, is because I visualized I was putting on Wonder Woman Sunday. To
Yes.
me, Wonder Woman doesn't die. So mindset is so huge. The power of our minds, so very little of it, that's on us, right? Like teaching ourselves, but it's also on, I think we're conditioned to do that. I don't think they want to start.
Yeah, we're conditioned to say we have an end of our life and this will be the end. I'm going to live to 82. And I'm like, well, that's kind of shitty. Oh, that's kind of
Oh, that's
crap.
fine. That's fine. I'm not going to
The only thing that we know in our life is the day we were born. That's the only thing we know. The rest, we don't know. Like I can't predict when I'm gonna die. And that cracks me up so much when I talk to I have a lot of elderly, like older friends, like my mom and dad, like they're 82, and I'll say, oh, I hope I live to 85. I'm like, excuse me? Dad, seriously? Why, what? But
why are you putting such a small limitation
I
on
know,
that?
and that's the key. Why are we putting so much weight into everybody else around us in their opinion and not saying, you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to heal myself. And seriously, this is the way to do it. And I think and I believe that the world is turning that way. I'm going to tell you, there's a beautiful movie on Prime called Heal. And it's a journey of a lady who had, I think it was either breast cancer or lung cancer, and how she did what you did sound healing, did power of, there was a bunch of healing modalities, but they also had great speakers on it too. And I was just like, everybody should watch this tenfold.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Doctor told me I had a 5% chance of survival. Like I said, we're not talking about expiration dates. I don't want to hear that shit no more. I do not. That he's like, okay, so treatment plan is surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. I said, sure, I'm willing to do all of that, but you need to understand there will be Reiki, there will be all of this other stuff. And he rolled his eyes at me and he said, you know, I don't care. No, absolutely not, because it will uh, counteract. Yes, yes, please, exactly. Putting too much of that in my body. Uh, the chemo that they used for me was strong. I had to have respiratory after. Um, it was, but because I do really absolutely believe that all of the modalities that I added to that negated some of the horrible side effects of that process, right? Like I never got any radiation burns. Not really. I mean, very light, right? My biggest issues were nausea, brain
Yeah.
fog, and exhaustion, right? Like, and I spent a year like that. As I said, I'm just a gigantic cat, right? Like I'm gonna go sleep 20 hours in the corner, wake up 20 hours, and then go back to bed. And I lived that way for a year. And one of the things I really recommend for people that are in a situation like that right now is to vision what the future is like and plan what their life is like after.
Yeah.
I did not do that. However, because I was very lost in it, and I but I was doing so much right. But if I
Right.
had, like I had to go back, there's more that I would add to it. And one of those things would be to affirmations and visualize what it will look like afterwards. Uh, 17 years after the fact here, I can I can remember that I went through long periods of time where I forgot that I'm a survivor. And, you know, once I took up the mantle of advocating and helping other people, now I remember it all the time, but like not in a panicky kind of way, right? Like you get to a point where going to a doctor appointment no longer is so anxiety and fear ridden.
Yeah.
It's just a regular doctor appointment again. That happens if you let it happen and you.
Mhm. Yeah, there's too many people making excuses. And I like there and I'm not perfect because seriously, there's days where I'm like, "Ugh, I don't want to get out of bed." And you know what? That's okay. Because I'm okay with it because sometimes the body just needs to have rest and heal because you don't know what's going on inside, especially women. So, and the thing is that you have to listen to yourself. You're the only advocate for you, no one else. And you can't tell me what I should do because you don't know me. Even my bestest friend, my husband, my child, my mom and dad, I'm my own advocate. You be your own advocate. And we can talk about it, but you can't tell me what I need. Oh, you need to eat more. You need to, I know what this body needs and I know what this body is. So be your own advocate. Ask the questions when you go to the doctor. Make sure that you reach out because seriously, if I hadn't done it one of my surgeries, I would not be here on this planet right now because it went sideways and they almost lost me. And I thought, nah, after that, you want to do surgery on me? Then I'm going to be my advocate and this is what you need to do. And if that's the case, don't do surgery then. You know what I mean?
I 1000% concur with everything you just said. Being your own advocate is. Um, they had to do a DNC to find my cancer. There were
Oh, so
five.
you, I'm like, just wait a minute. What kind of cancer is this?
I had a carcinosarcoma of the uterus.
Yeah.
A healthy uterus is about 4 ounces. They took mine out. It was over 10 pounds.
Is
Uh-huh.
that a
And
world record?
I don't know, but you would think so, right?
Shit, it's like
But
having a baby.
yes, I say it's the size of a bowling ball on my head, right? And the only symptoms I had were a little depression and some aches in my lower abdomen.
Yeah.
There were no markers in my blood. My pap smears came back fine. The ultrasound, the transvaginal ultrasound came back fine. They did something called a sun. They inflate the uterus
Yeah.
slightly and image it. That
Yeah.
came back fine. Yeah, and it was big. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's that's crazy. And this is why, and I always think, I don't know what you do. So you're giving, I think sometimes this is a gift. Like I've given, somebody has given me my strokes to spread the word about something. Somebody's giving you your cancer for the reason for you to talk and help these people go through it. And that's your passion and that's your purpose. I believe that the reason I'm here on the earth is to educate people about your body. Because I get angry when when I get, today I had a phone call from a dear friend and, oh, I went to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. So what are they going to do? Oh, they're sending me the gynecologist. I'm so tired in the morning. I don't know why. And I'm like, so I have to zip it because she's not being her own advocate. She's waiting for them to make the answers. Give her the answers. Give me an answer. Give me a pill. Give me an answer. Just jump into your own skin. Be your advocate. Because they wouldn't have found what you had if you didn't ask.
Adonica, I really appreciate that it's yours as well, because I advocated for myself, still here to help others advocate for them.
You got to fight. Got to fight.
Doctors have spent years learning how to do their thing. However, it is still called a medical practice.
Yeah.
You are your expert body because you live your body 20%, and you are your expert. So if you feel there's something wrong, don't let them tell you something. Medical tests can only go so far. They
Yes.
literally had to do pregnancy to find my cancer, and it was the size of a bowling ball. So had I not,
I'm just picturing that going, oh my God.
right? Exactly. Like seriously. When she told me it was over 10 pounds, I was like, seriously?
I was just sitting there going, okay.
Yeah.
I
I
carried
mean,
a 9-pound baby, so I'm thinking, okay, that's a lot.
yeah, I almost didn't make it through that surgery. It was an extra like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. I swear to God, that's a world record. I have during my stroke, you couldn't take birth control, blah, blah, blah. And then so they decided to do Depo shots. So because I bled, because I was on Coumadin like an old person on Coumadin. And I was like, didn't know a lot about what was going on in my body. And this thing grew what was it? A grapefruit sized fibroid in my it's like, did you guys not get that? And I would feel like probably like you not as big where you're like, God, that hurts. What's going on? I didn't do any abs. And then sex was hard. Like, I'm just gonna be blunt. My husband
I
was
appreciate that. I
yeah,
absolutely appreciate that.
my husband would say, this doesn't feel right. And I'm like, okay, off to the OBGYN I go. And I had the most wonderful. He delivered my child. He kept me safe from my strokes, said, you're not having another baby. And I said, okay, so why the pain? And then he told me, and I was like, take it out. And I said, I'm going to advocate for me, take the rest out because I'm not having kids. So we got rid of it. And so I had a partial hysterectomy on my call going, if you're going in and you can't take this out D&C wise, like normal, then you know what? I'm not having any more kids. Take the rest out. So I don't need to worry about that. And he was
How old
super
were
great.
you?
Super great. He's like, okay, I agree.
How old were you?
I was so Evan would have been I had Evan at 34, so he was 5, so 39, 40. Yeah. Yeah.
I was diagnosed when I was 8.
Yeah. See, things happen around that age, eh? In the 30s. Like what the
Unfortunately, younger and younger people are being diagnosed with cancer, and it's
oh, the other thing is that endometriosis. Oh,
oh, I think it's the bullshit they put in our food, the toxins in our air, like
tampons,
skincare, the
tampons.
furniture, the everything,
I was gonna
everything.
say to you today, it's like I'm like, I don't wear makeup. I don't, I was like, I'm just going naked because I'm very cautious. It has to be very clean stuff that goes on here.
I I have eyeliner on right now, and I eyeliner on maybe once a year. Like I make my own soap. I make my own
Nice.
shampoo
Yeah.
bars.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I can do for myself. Like I'm not kidding when I say I have 400 pounds of soap. I do. Like
You can like scoop the whole entire nation.
not quite, but like if things go sideways, I have something to barter.
Exactly. That's funny. That's good. That's
But like all kidding aside, the more natural that I can do and teaching these principles to my kids, right? Advocate for yourself and have very conversations in this house about our bodies and the weird things they do. And do I need to go see a doctor to talk about it? Yes, we do. Talk about
Yes,
it and
absolutely.
advocate for yourself. It's
Yeah.
funky. It is funky. So, I think that advocating for yourself is one of the most important things. I'm like, both of us are here because we did that, right?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is just not for the medical, for the rest of your life, for your jobs, for your family, for the rest of your life, you're your own advocate. I have a bazillion cheerleaders over here, bazillion of them that cheerlead me on. I have a girlfriend that I just adore. She lost her son 5 years ago in a hiking accident, and she says to me all the time, "You do you, Adonica. You do you." I said, "Absolutely, I'll do you. Do me." And so I'm starting a podcast called You Do You.
That's
And
awesome.
it's just getting the gist around it, but advocating, because I don't think people talk enough about stuff like we talk about. Like, come on, how many people do you know that's going to sit down and let's talk about what's going on in your body?
We talk about everything on this podcast. I've talked about sexual dysfunction because of the hysterectomy. I talk about what I accidents because of all of the radiation. I don't always get the body cues that it's time to go to the bathroom, and I have shit myself in public multiple times, right? And you, I've started to develop a humor about it. I used to be really upset about it, and I was like, you cannot control the situation. You can only control how you respond to it. And now I have basically a Tanya bag, like a diaper bag, right? Like with wet wipes and change of
Okay.
clothes
Yeah.
and all of that. And it sits in the car. It goes everywhere I go now, right? Like I have to carry extra stuff on the airplanes just in case,
Right.
right? But I'm grateful to be here, and
You're
sometimes
you're
this
on this
happens.
planet for a wonderful, beautiful purpose, not a reason. It's a purpose and a passion. And whether we find it when we're little, or we find it in the middle, or we find it at the end. And I said to my poor husband, he's like, "What are you doing now?" Because I can't sit still because I'm not done searching. But and I always say, like, I'm 59. My husband, he's gonna retire eventually. And I don't wanna. I don't wanna. There's more I have to say to everybody. And that's why you are so, so important in our world.
Absolutely. Like I could be done with my day job 10 years ago, but having this advocating and teaching other people to advocate for themselves and talk about the stuff people don't want to talk about, like
Yes,
society, but we need to talk about,
yes.
right? Survivors are actually surviving. So now they're starting to do studies on long-term effects of
Mhm.
chemo and radiation.
Right,
Now
yeah.
they have no idea what the long-term effects are.
No,
Now we have survivors that survived long enough that they can start doing studies, and we're learning about the challenges
mhm.
20 years after cancer. What are the challenges because of radiation or
Right.
chemo? And I love the red light therapy thing. I'm picking it up, right? Because the brain,
So the one thing, just to, sorry to interrupt, but the one thing we don't know, and there's not a lot of studies on it, we know that we can take cysts that are liquid filled, so little like ganglion cysts, and get rid of them. What we don't know right now in red light therapy is how the light affects a cancer cell. Now, we don't know, but what we do know is afterwards, when you do your radiation and chemo and your immune system is so like down the tubes, that red light therapy, after you're done all your treatments, will help build your mitochondria to help build your immune system up so you can start fighting off instead of staying in your house forever because you don't want to get out and get a cold because that's bad. You know what I mean? So that's the one
I
thing we do
do.
know.
I
Yeah.
do. I spent 5 years after my diagnosis being real. Uh, I went out and I did things. I definitely did.
Right.
But I kind of knew that even though I had left most of my system. This is a really weird story. So at the 5-ish year mark, mosquitoes started to find me attractive again.
Oh God, that's a good thing, isn't it?
No, but like, but it told me that I was no longer like,
Poison,
radiating the air around
poison.
me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, right? Like, so now I think, okay, so was I giving off low radiation to everybody that was
Or a smell, or like a smell.
right? Like, so like what was that? Well, nobody can answer me, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely not. No, no. And the other thing red light helps with is neuropathy. So I don't, and that's a huge, huge side effect of chemo radiation.
yeah,
And we've had some very big success stories with people just being on their light for a day, like not a day, I mean 20 minutes, one session. We had a doctor who had colon cancer. He's actually the top melanoma doctor in the world, skin. Now he's moved on. And he had come and said, "Can you help my feet?" And I said, "Absolutely." Put him under. And he's like, "Okay, that works." So the tingling and the numbness and stuff, that's the other thing that red light therapy will help with is neuropathy.
amazing.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, get rid of that brain fog, man. I tell you, when that is clear, the world is your oyster. It's
I
there.
I still have brain fog and I still have memory issues.
Yes.
And
Oh,
you know, I'm trying really hard not to have it like a limiting belief that it'll always be like that because let's not do that to ourselves. But there have been occasions where I'll introduce myself to somebody and they're like, I know you. And I'm like, can you
oh,
please
I do
refresh
that.
my memory? Right. Like, and,
Yeah.
I've gotten much more gracious about it. Not gracious tears and ran away. Awesome. Awesome job there. Right. Like,
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that though too, but you got to think though, preventative is the best thing right now for all of us. Is be preventative. Drug companies are not going to like us. Doctor, there's the odd doctor. See, I have the best family doctor where I go every year to get a physical top to bottom, blood work, blah blah blah, wash my kidneys, blah blah blah, cholesterol, blood pressure, and I've been on blood pressure and cholesterol for the last 4 years because I'm a stroke survivor. So they're like, wow, okay. But she had not seen me for 6 months, got everything done. And she said to me, she goes, "Oh my God, are you sitting down?" I said, "Why? Am I dying?" Like, see, I was like, but she's never said that. She goes, "I'm giving you an A plus 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 mark on your blood work." And I went, "Oh, fill me in." She goes, "Your cholesterol is beautiful. Your blood pressure is beautiful. The rest is beautiful. What are you doing?" And I hadn't seen her. And I said, "I'm doing red light therapy." She goes, "Keep doing it. It's out there. It's a great modality. Keep on doing it." And I said, "Okay." So I see her every 6 months now. But
that's awesome.
that's like one out of a bazillion doctors that are afraid to say, "Oh, yeah, go to red light therapy."
Well, I used to get mad at that, but I'm not because they're really it's out of their control, right? Like they have to follow all the regulations. They have to, you know.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I used to get really pissed off about it, and now I find natural paths and
There's
hopefully
doctors
do.
out there that believe in this right, left, and center. And you have one of the biggest hospitals that are doing testing on cranial red light therapy right now. And I'm excited to get in touch with them. And because it's in Massachusetts, that hospital there. It's a psychiatrist that's doing it to help with PTSD, depression, brain fog,
Amazing.
Alzheimer's, dementia, and he's got a cap that goes on the head. We're not a cap, we're too big, kind of heavy, but he's on it. He's on it. It's coming. It's coming. I'll be available.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Um, yeah, I I had heard of red light therapy, never had the opportunity
Yes.
yet, but it is now on the plan. I didn't do that. It sounds like a wonderful modality.
Absolutely.
I love light therapy, chronotherapy. What? And I'm like,
Yeah. I just did my light therapy when I walked today. So I walked about 10K a day. So I went out, I saw a snake, I saw deers. I'm like, okay, farm animals I'm good with, but snakes and deers. But that's better than no red light. You know what I mean? But make sure when you do and search out red light therapy that you know what you're looking for. You need to know what they're doing and what the light is. That's biggest key, biggest key.
So if somebody were to go and look at light therapy, what are some guidelines that you would suggest that they follow,
Mhm.
like to tell if legitimate or
Yeah.
business?
Okay, exactly. Well, first of all, there's so many different lights out there. LED seems to be the one that's out there a lot. A lot of the people that I know of have the handheld ones that they just put on a certain area, especially a sprain or a twist or whatever, like a joint thing. They have to be certified to do that or they can burn you. And that's one key you have to know is that, are you certified to hold that at my head? Boom. That's all you have to ask. You also have to ask the power of the light. Is it going to do what I'm paying you to do? Is it going to penetrate into my cells? And the power that should is 500 watts. It has to be a big power of a power source. And with that power source comes with wavelengths. So if you have 500-watt power of a light, then you're going to be able to get 10 wavelengths into your body. And that's called near infrared. So the spectrum is so big that we're on the great side of the spectrum to be able to do that penetration. The other thing you got to know is that 20 minutes is the max when you're at that higher spectrum because the body itself can only handle 50 joules of energy. Anything after 50 joules is just waste. It's wasted energy. So you don't want to over energize the body because then you're just wasting your money and you're wasting that time under that light. So you got to make sure you do that. And body coverage. You want to make sure that you're not just there paying $2,000 for someone to hold this here. Get the body coverage. There's beds out there that cover top to bottom. There's beds, half lights that you can just sit under. Ours is quite different because we are a Canadian company, and my website will show you how different they are. And they're on casters, so we can roll them around. But you just have to ask the questions, and it's kind of fun because I'm kind of a detective sometimes. So when I'm in Edmonton, I like to go to places that say they have red light therapy and say, "So how many watts do you have? How many wavelengths?" And they can't answer me, so I know they don't do their homework, and
Yeah.
that's where I'm not going to go. So when people come to us and they call us and they said, "Tell me about your light." Chris is my business partner. We have a spiel. We know what our light does. We know what you're asking. We know. And then they go, "Oh." So you have to ask the questions. Have to ask. Just like be an advocate. Got to be an advocate. I want this for my brain to get the brain fog out. Does that light going to do that? And if they say, "I don't know," then out the door you go.
Awesome. So, Adonica, how can people reach you? What's your website? What's your socials?
I'm on Facebook. I have a group called Celebrate Light. So you can just hook up in there, send me messages there. I have the best name for social media. It's Adonica Albert on LinkedIn. So you can find me there too as well. I'm there a lot. And then our website is Celebrate Light. So Celebrate is 2 L's, like cell. Such a cute little name. Celebrate Light .ca. And you can find me there too as well, and my business partner. And you can just send us a message if if you want questions answered, or you want me to send you studies. I love doing that because all you have to do is put in red light therapy and whatever element that's working in the body right now, stuff will just pop up. And it's wonderful to see. And the studies are amazing out there right now.
That is absolutely fantastic. And I will make sure that information is posted in the show notes. Well, you should be able to find her easily. Really appreciate you coming on the show today, Adonica. This is really entertaining and educational. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.